She's already messed up the pillows, but it's so easy to become overwhelmed and just fed up when it comes to goal setting and resolutions. Maybe you're just worn out, and the thoughts of adding one more thing to your list or committing to doing something else is too much. Maybe you don't even know what you want to do. There are two main systems or strategies that I use when I'm feeling that way, so I want to share both of them with you, and also a goal that everyone should aim for. I don't like using that word should, but really this is an important one. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura and I help you live a simpler, happier, more spacious life, and we are coming into my favorite time of the year where everything seems full of possibility and there is the promise of a fresh start. Now listen, I know that you can start fresh any day of the week. You don't have to wait till January 1st, but I do feel that the new year just kind of adds an extra cleanse. Run up. Okay, there you go. Yes, all right, good girl. But sometimes it's like staring at a blank page. You want to fill it full of grand plans and great ideas, but it's just a lot of pressure. Feels like a lot of work. So I want to share some strategies that help me when I am feeling like I want to set a goal, but I really do not know where to start. I don't know what I want to do, what's a priority for me, or when I want to do something that is actually achievable, not some kind of pie in the sky, massive big goal that I'm reaching for, not something that I have tried and failed at before, but something I can actually do. I want it to feel doable without it being too demanding. The first is the stop, start, continue method, and I'm going to give you some examples, but this is a great one because the first thing it has you do is to stop doing something. It's to take something off your plate, decluttering a commitment, freeing up some space in your head and in your schedule. Maybe you even decide that you want to stop setting resolutions, or at least the kind of, big, massive, year-long ones. But when we think of goals, we tend to think of them in terms of moving towards something, putting in a huge amount of effort to get us somewhere. It's doing something, it's reaching for something, it is putting in a lot of work and effort and time and energy. But we don't always think of it in terms of moving away from something, turning our backs on something, saying no to something, easing a burden on ourselves instead of adding another one. So if you're really struggling, especially if you feel like you've just got too much on, start by stopping. Here are some great examples, and there are some things that I have stopped doing over the past few years and have just made a big difference in my life. The first is to stop following accounts online that don't make you feel great or don't add anything significant and positive to your life. And you don't have to, sit down for hours and scroll through all of the accounts that you're following across all of the social platforms or anything, but just as you are naturally scrolling through social media and you see something that just isn't floating your boat anymore, that is the time to click the unfollow button, the unfriend button, the mute button, whatever you need to do. And this also goes for other things too. So as you're scrolling through your emails, unsubscribe from the ones that you no longer want to receive. Again, just as you're in your inbox and you see something, ask yourself, do I want to continue seeing this? Do I want to continue receiving these messages, these notifications? Even your YouTube subscriptions, do you still want to continue to receive videos from the channels that you're subscribed to? Stop following and consuming content from people and accounts that just don't really add any great value or benefit to your life. You can also cancel a commitment that you have, something like, bowing out of a book club, or not going to any of the PTA meetings anymore, or just, saying no to that committee, stepping down from a committee or something that you have volunteered your time to. Another wonderful example is to stop making yourself so available to other people, the people who kind of take and never really reciprocate. Stop returning the calls of people that you don't really want to talk to, and you know these people, like when their name flashes up on your phone, you're like, ugh. Stop agreeing to host or to organize everything. You know, people will, maybe not even intentionally, but if they feel like you will do a job or you will be willing to do a job that they don't want to do, they will happily pass it off to you. Whereas if you just say, you know what, that actually doesn't fit into my schedule right now, or I just can't squeeze that in, that's much better for you. In the long run, you will be setting boundaries so other people won't kind of intentionally or otherwise cross them, and you will be saving all of that extra time and energy for yourself. So that's it in terms of stopping doing something, but the next one is to start doing something. Now, I know what you're thinking, like this is the one probably that you struggle with the most because you already have a lot on your plate, but maybe because you've now stopped doing something, you can give your time to something else, something that you will actually enjoy doing. Add something in, and not in a stressful, you know, like stuffing your schedule kind of way, but just something that actually you want to do, something that you will find enjoyable. Again, let me give you some examples to show you that this does not have to be a big, massive commitment. You don't have to make a lot of sacrifices or anything when we talk about, you know, starting something. It doesn't have to be something big. So for example, you could decide that you're going to start reading a book, or, you know, reading up on a topic that you've always been interested in, you know, doing some research. And it doesn't have to be a very specific goal. You don't have to set a goal to read X number of books, or to read for a certain amount of time every day, or read a certain number of pages every day. It could literally be just to start reading something, to start researching something that interests you, and see where it takes you. It's just committing to starting something and seeing how it goes. But yes, you could also start something in the sense that you want to kind of do it on a regular basis, like a self-care routine or a morning routine, something that you probably already do a little bit of in your life, but you just want to put a little bit more intentionality into it. You want to start doing it a slightly different way, you know, a way that kind of better benefits you and the type of lifestyle that you're leading. While you may not necessarily be, you know, starting it from scratch, you're starting to pay a little bit more attention to it. You're starting to properly kind of craft and create and tweak it to be what you want it to be. There are so many different ways that you can start doing something. So many different ways to start something that don't necessarily involve a huge amount of time and effort commitment on your part. But if you're looking for some extra ideas for habits, kind of small habits that you can implement that are going to have a big impact on your life, then go and check out last week's video. I shared some of the really small habits that I've implemented in my life over the years, and they have had a significant impact. And then you can continue doing something, because again, goals don't necessarily have to add something extra to your plate. And this kind of whole idea of continuing something is great because it forces you to slow down, to kind of evaluate what is working in your life. Very often we do things on autopilot, or we do them every now and again. We don't really pay much attention to them, whereas this gives us an opportunity to sit down and reflect on what is working well for us and something that we want to kind of recommit to or make something a priority. It is identifying and focusing on the things that are contributing to a happier, healthier, more joyful life. Maybe it's even a habit that you have adopted this past year, and you're sitting down now looking back and you think, you know what, yes, that actually is working for me. I want to continue doing that for the next year. Again, some small examples could be maybe you want to continue drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning because now that you've given it some thought, you realize that it makes you feel alert and awake and energized in the morning. If anyone knows the secret to that, actually, please let me know, because I've tried everything, but no, still don't want to get out of bed in the morning. Or maybe, and this is possibly you, if you do subscribe to this channel or you watch me on a regular basis, well, maybe you want to continue your decluttering journey. Maybe you've realized how much space and freedom it gives you, and that is something that you want to continue to bring into your life, and maybe even expanding it beyond physical stuff. Maybe you want to start sorting out your digital life, or maybe you want to look into your schedule, you know, decluttering that, getting rid of those commitments like we said. Maybe you want to kind of declutter your thoughts, your mindset, your beliefs, things like that. So it's simply a matter of making a pact with yourself, a promise to yourself that you're going to prioritize something that you're basically already doing. So that is the stop, start, continue framework. I love it. I think it's really easy to implement and it gives you a great jumping off point. But next, before we get on to the kind of one goal to rule them all, let's look at the next method. That is do, be, have. This is really interesting because it forces you, again, out of that mindset of thinking that goals are, you know, success driven, like forward momentum, like one and done, kind of tangible type things. Don't know if I'm explaining that properly. It'll make sense in a minute. First part, do, is just what is something that you want to do. It could be a one-off type thing that you just do one time and that's it, or it could be something that you want to do on a more regular basis. And it's simply a matter of asking yourself the question. You'll be surprised with how many answers you can come up with. Let me give you one of my own. Something that I want to do this coming year is to visit the prison where the Shawshank Redemption was filmed. It is the Ohio State Reformatory. I currently live in Ohio, so it's reasonably nearby. It's about a 3.5 hour drive. And it's just something that I've kind of been curious about, not curious about, but like interested in. I really loved the film. I really loved the story. Is it, you know, like Pinterest worthy? No, but it's something that I think would be fun. For you, it might be visiting a particular place or location or attraction. It could be doing something like maybe a DNA test, you know, finding out that you're 100% that bitch. It could be, you know, looking into your family history or something like that. But what's something that you've kind of always wanted to do, even if it's a really small thing, even if it's just something that you yourself would be interested in? Like I said, it doesn't have to appeal to the masses. It doesn't have to be something that everyone would want to chase, but what's something that you would like to do? And then B, this is a great one because it moves away from the kind of external idea of success and it turns it inward. Who do you want to be, or what do you want to be? And it could be anything from, you know, I want to be a doctor to I want to be content and calm and at peace with my life. It could be I want to be a lawyer to I want to be I don't know, like loving and kind. Not that those are like diametrically opposed or anything. They're not mutually exclusive, but you know what I'm saying, like, you know what I'm getting at. It could be something kind of specific or career driven, like I want to be a builder, or a more kind of general personality or lifestyle kind of trait, like I want to be artistic and creative. It's kind of less about chasing one goal or one dream, and it's more about the type of person that you want to be. I think this one is so fundamental because very often we try to change our actions, you know, the things we do externally, without changing our behaviors or our beliefs. And sometimes we do things then that just don't align with the person that we are, and we wonder why we fail at things. An example would be, you know, maybe you think, oh, I want to be a millionaire, but your belief system is built around the idea that people who are millionaires or people who have a lot of money are, you know, like horrible people, greedy people or something. And this is something that I personally struggle with, because when I was growing up, a lot of the kind of media portrayals of rich people were spoiled, arrogant, like miserly, grumpy, horrible, rude people. And that's something that I didn't even notice was ingrained in me. So it's going to be very difficult for me to build wealth, for example, if I'm not like tackling and dismantling these beliefs that I have. And it's something that I have identified, and I'm working on breaking that belief or changing that belief. But it's very difficult to go after something externally if your internal beliefs don't match up with that. You are going to constantly kind of self-sabotage and, you know, sacrifice that goal because you can't do something that conflicts with how you actually feel. You're always going to fail at something if your beliefs do not match what you are trying to create. So that is why this kind of a B formula or this B goal is so important. Rather than focusing on those external things, focus on the internal stuff. Who do I want to be, and how can I kind of make that happen? How can I evolve into that person, or how can I create that person, or what kind of beliefs do I need to have? What kind of behaviors do I need to have that align with that person? Maybe you just want to continue being how great you already are. And then have. What is something that you would like to have? And this could be a tangible thing or a non-tangible thing. And even with tangible things, it could be a big thing, like maybe you want a new car, a new house, or it could even be something small, like maybe you just want like a new kitchen mixer or something. But on the non-tangible side, maybe a skill. There's a particular skill or talent that you would like to have. So take a piece of paper and jot down, you know, stop, start, continue, do, be, have, and then take a few minutes to brainstorm some ideas. And I don't want you to kind of edit yourself. I don't want you to think, you know, that's too small, you know, that's not a worthy enough or a big enough goal, or, you know, that's kind of silly. Why would anyone want that? We're not saying that these are your life goals, you know, these are the only things that you're ever going to achieve. We're simply saying these are the things that I would like to start with. But let's say you're stuck. Let's say you have absolutely no idea what you want to do, who you want to be, what you'd like to have. Let me give you a goal that I promise you will benefit you no matter who you are, no matter what stage of life you are at. Prioritize rest. Just like Jovi over here. And I mean proper rest, like refreshing, rejuvenating, revitalizing, recharging rest. It is just at the core of everything. Last year, maybe you'll remember it if you watched my vlogs from last year, I'll link them for you, but I realized when I sat down to reread over my journal entries from that year that the vast majority of them referenced how tired I was. So I made a commitment to myself that I was going to prioritize getting quality sleep, that I did not want to basically sleepwalk my way through this year. And I did it. Like, I really prioritized that. I put in place a good evening routine, made sure that I was getting as much rest as I needed. Feeling rested and recharged is so fundamental to everything, because if they are not in place, you're going to struggle with everything else. And listen up, rest is not something that you have to earn. You do not have to justify rest. That is not how that works. Rest is part of life. It is part of productivity. It's not something that you only get to do after you have done something else. No, it's like the fundamental. It's the thing that you have to do before you can do anything else. It's going to make everything else so much easier. Trust me on that one. I also want you to check out this video on how to review your goals and how to stick to them. It's all about doing a monthly review, which is such a wonderful exercise to keep you on track. I do these. They have worked wonders for me. So go check that one out, and until next time, go raibh míle maith agaibh. Agus feici mé sibh go luath. Slán!